It is entirely possible that the federal court cases against the former president will continue on. He is, of course, facing those felony charges. Would you consider, if you win and he's convicted, a pardon for former President Trump?
I'm not going to get into those hypotheticals. I'm focused on the next 14 days.
Okay, so Harris is being asked there the question that Joe Biden has previously been asked many times. And the reason that it's being asked is because people want to know. We know what Democrats tend to be like once they get into office. They do everything they can to extend an olive branch to the other side. And she is already saying that she wants to have Republicans in her administration. She's campaigning with Republicans. The idea that she might be the last final line of defense between Donald Trump and the needed accountability for his actions, I think a lot of people are worried about that. So they'd like a clear answer. And I understand that this is not what she would prefer to be talking about in the closing weeks of the election, but it's also very easy to just say no. Of course, I'm not going to pardon him if a judge and a jury find him to have violated these laws. And she didn't say that right there. We're going to get to a little bit more of what she did have to say, and then let's discuss.
Is there any part of you that subscribes to the argument that has been made in the past that a pardon could help bring America together, could help unify the country and move on?
Let me tell you what's going to help us move on. I get elected president of the United States.
A storm is tearing up the digital media industry. Only our audience can save us in these difficult times. Help us reach our goal of 100,000 new members at tyt.com/team.
Okay, so that's direct, and I don't doubt it. And she, by the way, she's not saying that she would pardon him. She's not indicating there that she would like to pardon him, which is good. But I also think like I'm less worried about Harris right there than the continual framing as everyone else has an obligation to be better the more Donald Trump is bad. The worse stuff Donald Trump does, the more crimes he commits, the more anti-democratic he becomes. The onus is not on him, never on him, always on you to be better. Not just to be good, not just have good values. You need to make up for the gap between his behavior and the expectations we have for an elected official. And I say screw that. But Francesca, what do you think?
No, I think that's right on. I really hate this answer because the other thing that it does is it puts the ability for us to ever hold Donald Trump accountable squarely and only on this election. It ties accountability for all of Trump's crimes to Kamala Harris winning the election. And I know some of us think, as we just talked about, look, but if Trump gets in, it's pretty much dead in the water. I know that, I understand that. But I think we have to look at the last 4 years and what has not been done, which is actually bringing this man to justice on the crimes that mattered most, namely what happened on January 6th and trying to overturn a Democratic election, right? And the fact that Merrick Garland, Attorney General, slow-walked it for whatever reason, because he was too cautious, because he was too worried about it being political or looking politicized, which is just wild. We are where we are, which is he will not face the music for that unless Kamala Harris is elected. And I think that's a really, honestly, piss poor way to run the greatest democracy on earth. The answer isn't, I'm not focused on that. It's the justice needs to play out the way it needs to play out. This election should have no bearing on whether Donald Trump is held responsible for the things that he did. The American people deserve justice. That's the answer I want to hear.
Yeah, and they deserve that. They deserve to know. They deserve that justice before having to make this vote, I think. 100%. I personally think, and maybe there's an antiquated view, that more information to the voters is a good thing. But unfortunately, the Avengers of the status quo have assembled and made sure that no, you don't get to know anything about what Donald Trump did, except for all the things we know, and he committed the crimes in plain sight. We know all of that, but nothing in a courtroom. Nothing in a courtroom. By the way, to your point, she could make the point you're making and tie it into a thing that we keep coming back to this election in a way that I think makes sense. You get asked, are you going to pardon him? And she could say, myself and Joe Biden, we've said from the very beginning, we have absolutely nothing to do with any of these charges against him. I didn't get him into this mess and I'm not going to get him out of it. Okay, this is between him, the American people, and our judicial system, and we'll see what happens.
100%.
I prefer that, unfortunately. Let me know what you think, audience.